Hello, welcome to the third update of RP Downtown RE. This is a map development project where I take the Downtown V2 roleplay map for Gmod and try to bring it into the 2020s. So this is probably one of the most popular maps, not this particular one of course, but the map that this is based on and its variants. And a lot of the map variants are centered around expanding the map. They go through these tunnels. What I'm just trying to do is basically take that core map, the one way back when from the early 2000s, and just bring that into line with what people expect. So, what I've done since the last update, which has been more than a year, is I've been working on these buildings in this industrial area as well as the Skybox. So, there's this building here, it's kind of a post office. And I really haven't changed much about it. I've just rearranged it. So now the side entrance is on a side street, the main entrance is on a main street. And this building over here is sort of an office. It's self-contained, but it's also connected to some other buildings. We'll get to that. And then there's this big red building here, along with this big yellow building, which are really not thought of as habitable buildings. In most versions of the map, they're kind of just walls. And I've actually gone and fleshed them out. I've connected them to the underground, which is always getting bigger and more expansive. More places to hide money, hide drugs, hide yourself, and generally get up to some nefarious business. Uh, Going into no-clip mode, we can see that I've made the skybox much bigger. So now it's an open skybox. You can fly above all of these rooftops. There's lots of room to play around, build sky bases, what have you. And with these buildings in the center, by adding roofs to them, they feel a lot more cohesive. They feel like actual buildings now that, you know, contain volume and have some actual hypothetical use. And of course, my work isn't really done. You can see I've added some 3D skybox details, but I'd want to add some that are much closer because right now, it from down here it looks pretty good, but if you come up here, it looks very ugly and it's very obvious what's going on. Like this isn't how I want it to be. In terms of what's coming up with this map, um, I'm going to be doing two major projects. This over here is like a hotel building, and I'm going to be completely fleshing it out, adding like a first story with some conference rooms, some meeting halls, maybe a ballroom, then a second and a third story with rooms and then suites to have kind of a higher tier of property that you can own in a roleplay game mode. And what's that's going to do is a few things. One, it's going to provide like a meeting space because besides the church, there isn't really one on this map, just for general meetings. It's going to give players sort of a best type of property that they can strive for. So if you gain a lot of money, there'll be properties at the top with a lot of different buyable doors, which will inherently lead to a higher cost. And it could be, something to be proud of, something to achieve. Um, and It'll also just make this square feel a lot more whole because there'll actually be buildings on all different sides. So on most versions of the map, you spawn in there and then there's the main street and you kind of just walk across and it still exists to some degree. But this side of the square is actually in use and does have things that you can interact with. On the opposite side of the city, I'm going to be making some crummy workers' housing. So there's this home here, and I can make a bunch like it in kind of a row house style. Um, on a lot of versions of this map, there's like a beach, and then there's three buildings. I want to kind of go for something like that, where they're sort of individual properties or houses that you can buy rather than apartments. Just add some variety. And where this dirt patch is, I'm going to add a little playground. So Generally, I'm always working to expand the map within its own parameters, um, increase the concentration of players in this main square into Main Street, but then also add areas to the side to hide and commit all sorts of nefarious acts that you get in roleplay, and generally just strike a balance between them both. It has been a while since the last update, but with this I'm hoping to speed up development a bit, get back in the groove, and soon enough we'll see this map finished. So thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you all in the next update.